As he said, Rohan was my senior in school. I didn't expect to see any of my seniors here, but I've got one. And you talked of what I did at the Royal Tomb, and I won't talk of what you did at the Royal Tomb. Those were days when we could enjoy life. Yes, I think not only me, a fair number had old Crocs. I remember once went to Visakha and we jumped in, and Mrs. Jayasinghe, the principal, escorted us out. The next time I went to Visakha, the principal escorted me in because I was the Minister of Education. And I reminded her of what she had done earlier. That's what life has been. Certainly, I must say, in the university I learnt law, but I learnt of life at Royal College. Most of us do. And to come into law, certainly Royal College was the place. When you sat in the main hall and looked at the portraits that were there, how many were lawyers? They were the initial lawyers. I mentioned 4 last time. Lawrence, James D'Alvis, who was also an author, Muthukumarasamy, another author, and Richard Morgan. We had so many, Don Horst, Sampaio, you name it, Walter Pereira, the B.W. Bava, the elder two Jayawardena brothers, SNP and EW, all of them served. They were actually both, some of them were the Queen's advocate, some were Solicitor General like Kumaras Ponnambalam and Ponnambalam Ramanathan, others even acted as Chief Justice. So this is how the law in this country was made by, to a large extent, by those who studied at Royal College. In fact, in school we learnt of books and men, and as lawyers we continue to learn of books and keep reading everything, as law is such that you can't fall behind. You must keep abreast. I was lucky that when I passed the Law College Advocates Final, that I had 2 royalists whose chambers I worked in, H.W. Jayawardena and Vernon Vijayatunga. So you could be rest assured that on Royal Thomian days, no work was going to take place. From Thursday on to Friday and Friday on to Saturday, that was the way that the matches took place. The match took place with all of us not being involved in any legal or other activity for those days. But it's not, it's basically the atmosphere of Royal which certainly helped to mold our characters. And I thank myself that I have been in this school when I have taken this thankless task. And remember, no one else wanted it. At a time when the country, as Rohan said, is facing an unprecedented crisis. I thought, one, take whatever decision you have to take which is good for the economy and good for the country, however unpopular I might be. And you know, all of you have been affected by my decisions of having to pay additional taxes. But you had to take those decisions. There are a lot of hard decisions. You can't run away. And I thought to myself, I am a royalist. I will not run away. I will take all the decisions that must be taken, regardless of whether you are popular or whether you are unpopular. You have a task, do the task. And Royal College taught me, don't duck it, don't duck responsibility, and remember that when you are at the top, the buck stops here. It can't go beyond that. That's why I've been standing firm. I have been taking the decisions, and I didn't want this country to go through what Greece has gone through. And I wanted our economy to pick up by next year, and by 2026 to have performed well enough that we would finish with our extended fund facility program that we will have with the IMF. This is what we have started. and we have 4 years. Greece took 13 years. So it's an ambitious program. It's a risk, but I know we can make it. So looking back, I always think of my school days when I sit there. I think of my school because Sri Lanka is a funny place. This is the only country in which the 2 Republican constitutions were written by royalists. In other countries, it's written by Republicans. And now everyone else is trying to change change that constitution. That we will start, the basic law that we are practicing were written by royalists. Most of the case law, we had royal contribution, either as a judge or as a lawyer, and if not, certainly as a petitioner or respondent. I am now the respondent in a large number of cases. So it's really a job which reminds me that it's my school that made me, and I have a duty to that school. So I don't want to take too much of your time because all of you here want to practice at the bar today, and I have no doubt. And actually, if we had the Inzo court system, there are so many royalists who are lawyers that we may have been even able to start an inn called the Royal Inn. Fortunately, we are on a different system. I also must tell you that we are looking at law reforms, and more than that, new areas for the law. One is environment. There will be a lot of legislation coming out this year and next year. Secondly, develop the port city as a financial center, which will most probably bring offshore economy law, and there will be arbitration, there will be many new areas where we'll bring the UK law in. So these are places where people can learn the law. So I want to tell one thing, Rohan, because why don't you all form a committee and we'll get any lawyers, especially the young ones who want to specialize on it, certainly to learn now. You better get a head start, that's all. There's a lot more that is being contemplated, and in the laws that come, you have a committee that will work together, mainly, because some of you can draft the law, but the main purpose of here is to tell you what the law is, so you can have a head start over others. That's all that I can do for the lawyers. I cannot make you, all of you, President's Council, but I'm happy to make all of you Royal Councils. So I won't want to take any more of your time. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for the pleasant words that have been said about me. Don't worry, Rohan, I'm not going to say anything about you. And wish you all the best.